great. Hey. Oh, no. Not.
What up, family? I just wanted to put this information out there because, you know, I really don't think the media is going to make it a point of really publicizing it, but they might, you know. But, all right, anyway, I stumbled across it, found it kind of interesting. Not too surprising, but, all right, check this out. And I'm going to attach the link to the article I'm reading from so y'all can check it out. But all right, it says a restaurant manager in South Carolina has admitted to beating and hurling racist abuse at a mentally challenged man who he forced to work more than 100 hours a week, unpaid for several years. Bobby Paul Edwards, 53, of Conway, South Carolina, pleaded guilty to one count of forced labor after admitting that he used violence, threats, isolation, and intimidation to compel his victim, John Christopher Smith, to work at the restaurant for free. According to the Justice Department, Smith had worked at the restaurant in Conway since he was 12. In 2009, Edwards began managing the restaurant and increased his victims' duties, making him work more than 100 hours over a 7-day working week. According to court documents, Edwards would also use abusive language, racial epithets, threats, and acts of violence against Smith while working, as well as beating him with his belt, pots and pans, and other instruments in order to compel him to work faster or to punish him for his mistakes. So, all right, y'all see this is crazy. Y'all see how stupid dude looks sitting up here, and blue eyes, you know, like, man, dude is all right. But all right, let me get to finish this off. All right, check this out. It says he would beat me with belts and all that. Smith said in a 2015 interview with WMBF News, "Take the tongs to the grease on my neck." Smith continued to work under these conditions until October 2014 when he was rescued by authorities after they received a report about the abuse. The NAACP office in Conway pushed for Edwards to face tougher charges after he was originally arrested for second degree assault, a misdemeanor. So now it also says that he is facing up to 20 years in jail. And on a side note, family, Bill Cosby, he facing up to 30 years. All right, anyway, let me finish this off. It says anyone who is rational and has any sense of logic should realize once you have the facts right here, it should be more than just an assault. Abdullah Mustafa, president of the Conway chapter of the NAACP, said at the time. We are talking about enslavement here. So it goes on to say that Edwards faces up to 20 years in prison following his guilty plea at the United States District Court for the District of South Carolina. He will be sentenced at a later date. Says Acting Assistant Attorney General John Gore says Edward abused an African American man with intellectual disabilities by coercing him to work long hours in a restaurant without pay. Combating human trafficking by forced labor is one of the highest priorities of this Justice Department, and today's guilty plea reflects our commitment to seeking blah, 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 blah. Okay, so now he says also, just to finish off, it says that Edwards could also face a fine of up to $250,000. He will also be required to pay restitution to Smith with the amount to be determined during the sentencing. So, you know, once I just kind of read that, I was like, man, this shh. And then a couple of things, you know, it stuck out to me. So I said, I got to look it up a little bit. But, you know, like, first of all, like, they charged this guy originally with second degree assault, and that's a misdemeanor. So I said, hold on, man, let me see exactly what it says in South Carolina law about second degree assault. So, all right, check this out. It says now this, I'm a screenshot or whatever, but y'all see it. But it says assault and battery second degree is codified in South Carolina Code 16-3-600D. But anyway, it says a person commits the misdemeanor offense of assault and battery in the second degree if the person unlawfully injures another person or offers or attempts to injure another person with the present ability to do so and causes more moderate bodily injury to another person results or moderate bodily injury to another person could have resulted, or the act involves the non consensual touching of the private parts of a person, either under or above clothing. Upon conviction, an individual found guilty of assault and battery in the second degree must be fined not more than $2,500 or imprisoned for not more than 3 years or both. So now this dude, all right, now they originally charged him, like I said, a misdemeanor, and then he wouldn't have did more than 3 years if he got convicted on that. So, just absolutely crazy. So, in looking that up, I said, well, let me see if I can find out a little bit more about, this case. So, all right. So when I got to doing a little quick Google search, what I ended up finding out is, of course, the name of the restaurant is, I think it's called J and J Cafeteria in downtown Conway. So in case anybody, around that area. But then also, I was like, well, how did this even, keep going on so long for 5 years? But then it, I guess the lady who was like an advocate of this individual who actually told the police, her daughter-in-law was a waitress at the restaurant. So she ended up, kind of saying that she was so scared of this guy, Bobby, who was the manager, that when people would ask about the abuse that was going on, she wouldn't really tell. So, but one thing I did find out, because it was talking, they put in the human trafficking and the enslavement, and so then it was a lawsuit filed against that guy Edwards, his brother, and the owner, with well, the man's brother, which is the restaurant owner. Um, and that lawsuit, it said it accused. Let me read. This is in the Washington Post, but it says the lawsuit accused Bobby of holding more than 30,000 of Smith's earning in a bank account that Smith had no access to. The complaint claimed Bobby reported that the victim made less than $1,000 per quarter, despite him regularly working 18-hour days. In addition to not being paid, Bobby allegedly didn't give Smith breaks, time off, or any benefits. Smith was often so tired from working that he would have to be carried home and physically fed, drink, and food, the documents allege. Goes on to say, now check this part out, because I was like, all right, with the enslavement part, if he was able to go home, like, what? All right, but anyway, check this out. It says the victim was kept from his family and forced to live in subhuman conditions in a cockroach infested apartment directly behind the cafeteria, which was owned by defendants. A 2014 statement from the law firm read. So, you know, um, that's just what I came across. So, I guess you see, the title. So, it's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with y'all. Won't take too much of your time, but leave a comment. Let me know what y'all think. All right, peace.